So this is my Zefra deck post Maximum Crisis. It got 3 new support cards, which is unprecedented for a legacy archetype, at least in the past 3 sets. Most archetypes, the best of which is Yang Zing's getting the best support, only got 2. So this changed the deck a lot. It made it a lot more viable to run in a pure sort of build. So let me start off with the profile. I'm running 3 Grammaton, so this has a wall of text effect, and it's great. So the pendulum effect is during your main phase, you can place a Zefra pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck, and this scale becomes that monster scale you placed in the extra deck. It's originally 5, but that doesn't matter because you're going to be placing either a 1 or a 7 to complete your scales. And its monster effect, you can actually get off fairly consistently despite the difficulties in getting it off. When it's in your extra deck, you contribute 3 all the monsters you control, including at least 3 Zefra monsters, to special summon this from your extra deck. It has 3450 attack, so it has a nice body. And then, after you do that, you can pendulum summon only Zefra monsters for a second time this turn, which is unprecedented in a card effect. And you contribute a monster you control to special summon a Zefra monster from your deck. So it's a great boss monster, and it's one of the central tenets of the deck, generally. This guy is the most important card of the deck, I believe, though, Zefra Niu. When he's pendulum summoned or destroyed while he's in a monster zone, and he has to resolve on a lower chain link so he doesn't miss timing, you get to add a Zefra or Yang Zing spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So this can be the newly revealed Zefra Providence, which allows you to add any Zefra card from your deck to your hand, the field spell, or Celestial Crusade of the Zefra, which is a pretty good card. It's a 2-for-1 removal, but you can activate it from your hand, or the standard counter trap, the Yang Zing counter trap. You can add a lot of different spells and traps with Zefra Niu. And then Zefroxy makes your other Zefra monsters a tuner, but when it does that, when it leaves the field, it's sent to the bottom of the deck. But that's not much of a problem anymore, thanks to Grammaton always pumping it back out into the extra deck. We have 4 Zefraxiton and 3 Zefraxiton and 3 Zefra which both with Zefra pops a Zefra card you control and a face-up card your opponent controls, and Zefraxiton pops a Zefra card you control and a face-down card your opponent controls. So they run the gamut of removal, so it's a pretty nice engine. This Zefra Wendy allows you to add a Zefra monster from your extra deck to your hand when it's pendulum summoned or normal summoned, and it's pretty nice because normally it wouldn't be that good, but you can add Grammaton back to your hand if it happens to get destroyed when you don't want it to, and you don't have a means of special summoning it out. And then Zefra Empilica, it summons a Zefra monster from your graveyard when it's normal or pendulum summoned. We XZ summon quite a bit in this deck, so it gets those materials back for you to reuse and put back in your extra deck. Zefra Providence, as I mentioned before, it's a normal spell that allows you to add any Zefra card from your deck to your hand, and it has a secondary effect of the turn that it's not sent to the graveyard, you can banish it from the graveyard to protect the destruction of one of your Zefra cards. And then the standard field spell, which has a myriad of effects depending on what method you use to summon with the Zefra monster as material. So there's a neat little interaction. I think most people know about it already. But if you summon a Synchro monster with Oracle of Zefra, you can choose one monster from your deck and place it on top of the deck. As and then you can summon Stardust Charge Warrior to draw that card immediately that you placed on your top of your deck. It's a neat little synergy. And then 2 Terraforming, because although you can search the field spell with Zefra Niu, there's a lot of better stuff to search, such as Celestial Crusade, or Divine Strike, or even Providence. And then there's Celestial Crusade. It's a 2-for-1 removal because it's a trap and you destroy 1 Zefra card you control and 1 card your opponent controls. But if you have 2 Zefras in your pendulum zones, you can activate it from your hand, which is the only thing that makes it worthwhile running. And then there's Zefra Divine Strike, which is a solemn judgment, but you banish 1 face-up Zefra monster in your extra deck to activate the cost. It's not really a solemn judgment, can't negate summons, but it's like an Infernity Barrier clone, like many of them. Same with 9 branches of the Yang Zing, except you destroy a Yang Zing monster you control. We play 6, and since Zefra Niu is so integral to the deck, you'll see it out very often. And then Solemn Warning, 1 of course, and 3 Solemn Strike. There's 10 counter traps in this deck. I would love to fit in Guiding Ariadne, but the Zefra monsters cannot pendulum summon her because of their restriction. They can only summon their own sub-archetype and Zefra monsters. So for example, Zefroxy can only pendulum summon Yang Zings or Zefra while he's in the pendulum zone. So that's the main deck. For the extra deck, I have Grand Pulse for spell and trap removal rank 3 using the 2 Ritual Beast Zefras. Dark Teller Knight Vatlimus. He's a pretty good monster. He's mainly used for getting out Deltaros, Triver, or Diamond. You have 3 options from Vatlimus. And then we have Utopia the Lightning, and Castell, which is standard. Coral Dragon. This is used with Zefroxy and one of the Ritual Beast Zefras. Same with Goyo Guardian and Stardust Charge Warrior. And then for the level 4 Zefras and Zefroxy, we have Black Rose, Yazi, and Clearwing. I don't play any 8s or 9 Synchros because there's no way to properly summon them in this deck with only level 3 or 4 monsters. I could play Chao Feng, but he could only negate Earths, and when he's destroyed, he searches a tuner, but I don't have any actual tuners to search, so it's not optimal. And then I have a Star Eater, which you can make from Zefroxy and 2 of the Teller Knight Zefras. So that is the deck, and I might be making slight modifications later on, but it's actually been working pretty well. I'll upload some deck videos of it in action later.